You're one day left before pads go in tomorrow. So far this week, what have you learned about your crew?
Well, getting better each day, fighting through when they're getting tired. I thought today was the best as far as energy. We just got to control that energy in between the whistles.
Todd kind of mentioned that before. I know you brought the guys in, and you kind of just reiterated that to them. Why was that important for you to address that at that time?
Well, we're going to be made of a team that does things that take no talent. I mean, it takes no talent to play hard and play fast in between the whistles. After the whistles, get back to the next play and play the next play. All that extracurricular stuff takes no talent to be disciplined and play the next play.
And how much of that really goes into your style, your philosophy, but also many people may look them as little things, but why those little things are big things at the end of the day?
Well, we're always talking about not beating ourselves. We're going to beat our opponents, but we're not going to beat ourselves. And those things are so critical. Doing those little things and harping on them, doing the detail, attention to detail. That's what we've really been harping on. The guys have bought in each and every day. We're getting a little bit closer to where we need to be.
Curt, you mentioned the penalties, and I know that's been a sticky. That's been a sticking point for this team for the last couple of years. You don't want something like that to happen in practice, but it does give you the opportunity to drive the point home. To be able to jump right on that and make that point to the players. Obviously you hope they get the point, but how much have you been emphasizing that, and how much does obviously a moment like that reinforce your ability to do that?
Sure, that's how it's been since we've been here. Been here as a group. We addressed it as a staff right away that was a thing of the past, and that we're moving forward, and we're going to be attention to detail team, whether it be going to class, whether it be being on time, whether it be working hard, touching the line, every little detail. And that's where we've got every day that's what we're talking about. Attention to details, doing things right. And today we had an opportunity to have a good teaching moment, a reminder of that's not us. That's not the way we're going to be. We're going to win, and we're definitely not going to beat ourselves.
I wanted to talk to you about Mark Smith and Craig Smith. And I know you've put a big emphasis on family with this program, and obviously they're part of the same family. Mark is somebody you've coached with before at Michigan, and just talk about how they embody kind of the ethos you want to build with your coaching staff, and not only that, but the experience that Mark has as a coach himself.
I worked with Mark, and I've known Mark for over 20-some years, and Mark's always been a class act, and I always knew Mark as a man that loved Indiana State, and I had an opportunity to work with Mark, and it was a tremendous opportunity. He was a linebacker coach, I was a secondary coach, so we sat there next to one another, so I knew what kind of man he was, and there was no doubt in my mind when I was given this opportunity to be the head football coach that Mark Smith was going to be the number one guy I was going to want to call, and because he loves Indiana State. This is home for him. This is truly a guy that I lean on. That's why he's the assistant head coach, and he's a valuable asset in this. Craig, his son, does a lot of the operations. He's my right-hand man. He grew up here in Terre Haute, also loves this community, loves Terre Haute, loves Indiana State, and has been a tremendous asset to us. He's done a lot of different things as far as the graphics that you see on the internet, to computers, to just the travel. He does everything for us. Those two are just been a tremendous asset.
Craig is a coach's son. You're a coach's son. He's gone through the process with his own dad of being a coach's son and what that means to him. Not only that, he's the ops guy, as you mentioned, so that's kind of a jack-of-all-trades job. But he's an ops guy for a first-year coach. So a lot of times ops guys come in and they're joining an established system. Knowing his background is similar to yours in a way, how much freedom do you give him as an ops guy to kind of be a part of this process of growing your culture here?
Well, he understands, being a coach's son, it's a tight-knit family. The coaching staffs, the coaches' wives, the coaching children, you're one big family. And you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days, but you're going to probably have more tougher days than you are. And you got to stick together as a family. And when I grew up with my father being a head football coach, closest friends of mine are coaches' children, guys I grew up with. And because you knew what you went through, the travel, the moving. Just, when you move from town to town to town, a lot of times those are going to be your instant friends. Those are the guys you're hanging around with. and that's what makes Craig so special, is that he understands the demands of being, the time demands, the emotional demands that go along with being a coach's son. So he's a natural fit for this position. It's what he wants to do. I mean, he wants to do the operation part of it, and with his background, he's just been a tremendous asset.
Special teams wise, Coach, I know Jerry was a big part of that last year and a weapon he had with his leg. Where do you kind of see your group from a special teams wise so far here early in camp?
You know, Jerry obviously is a tremendous weapon. You know, we lose Josh Apple. That's a huge. You don't realize how valuable those guys are until you don't have them anymore. And but you know, we've got some guys that have stepped in and are competing at that long snapping and the short snapping. So we feel like, you know, we've got a chance to be pretty darn good. You know, with our punting situation, you know, we've got some guys that have done some good things. Thomas Bolden's been in there, Jeremy Patterson, and have been kicking the ball really well. Andrew Lunsford shows that he's got a real strong live leg, and Jerry today, you know, split it right through the uprights when we put some pressure on it. And then the overall units, you just see the overall speed of our team, you know, with some of the freshmen coming in. We needed the numbers to help us out. And with Coach Abrams running the special teams, it's been tremendously organized.
You mentioned Coach Abrams and the organization. How do you put emphasis on special teams, not just in a small portion of your practice, but you do it throughout practice and really hammer in why it's important, not just to pay attention to little details on offense, defense, but preaching that importance of special teams and making sure it doesn't get lost in the shuffle?
Well, you got three phases of football game you got to concentrate on, and offense, defense, and special teams. And that special teams coordinator, that's what he does. Kevin spends 100% of his time with special teams. And if you're going to say that's a special unit or one of the top three phases, you better put just as much emphasis on it as you do offense and defense.